Good evening. It is the third day of April 2016. Welcome to the program. I'm Yvonne Okwara Matole. Our sign language interpreter is William Silla. Got a great bulletin lined up for you, as you've just seen. So let's start off with some politics news tonight. The violence that disrupted the launch of Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula's presidential bid in Kakamega County continues to raise more questions than answers. Why did CORDCO principal Raila Odinga skip the event despite having assured Wetangula that he will be present? And how did tear gas canisters end up in the hands of the public? This has now forced members of Ford Kenya Party to start contemplating leaving the CORD coalition. Chris Thairo begins our coverage tonight from Kakamega.
The violence that disrupted the launch of Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula's presidential bid in Kakamega County continued to raise more questions than answers. Why did CORDCO principal Raila Odinga skip the event despite having assured Wetangula that he will be present? And how did tear gas canisters end up in the hands of the public? And this has now forced members of Ford Kenya Party to start contemplating of leaving the CORD coalition.
Up to now, we don't know who was the one behind it, but we've been told that the CID has gotten some leads, and we call upon them to take action so that whoever was responsible, the law must take its course.
Honorable Paranya and our partners who have been issuing statements in Kakamega to say that Wetangula should not hold his meeting in Muliro Gardens. Because of that, and as far as I'm concerned, Oparanya takes full responsibility for what transpired.
The politicians who had accompanied Wetangula for a Meet the People tour in Busia questioned why ODM party leader decided to skip the event despite being in Kisumu, where he even had an early meeting with Moses Wetangula.
Another question is, why did Oparanya skip the meeting? The second question, why did Raila Amolo Odinga, the CORD principal, miss that occasion? First time we had such unveiling, we were in Machakos, when Kalonzo Musyoka was unveiling his presidential bid. Raila Amolo Odinga was there, Moses Masika Wetangula was there, but when it came to Western, where Moses Masika Wetangula, who is also a co-principal, is going to be there, and they are assured of their presence, they were not there.
You know, in a democracy, we're not in this party by accident, or, you know, we're not just lost. We are here in this party by right. Is a democratic party, and is our democratic right to belong to Ford Kenya.
Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, who has been accused of being behind the violence, has defended himself, arguing that at no time did he hire youths to disrupt the event.
But it's unfortunate that they are saying that I spawned that. Why would I do that? I don't want to be president. Have you heard I want to be president? So I should have no problem with it.
The differences between leaders within CORD coalition threatens the unity of the coalition even before they decide who will be the coalition's presidential flag bearer.
They will have actually involved me in the whole process of planning. When we met in Nairobi, we agreed that we plan together, but obviously, I know every corner of Kakamega than them who are coming from out. Yeah.
Speaking in Eldoret after attending a church service, Deputy President William Ruto condemned the violence, terming it an act of hooliganism and immaturity, and further called on Raila Odinga to take full responsibility of the aftermath of the violence.
Na mimi nataka niseme yale tuliyaona jana kule Kakamega ni ya kusikitisha. Tunataka tuwaulize viongozi wenzetu ya kwamba kila Mkenya awe na nafasi ya kuwania kiti chochote mahali popote, afanye mkutano mahala popote wakati wowote, aombe kiti yoyote.
The person who organized violence in Kakamega or who supported a wrangling in that Kakamega is the same person who released men in black in Kasarani, is the same person who sent his team to come and to pigia sisi filimbi kwa bunge.
Government spokesman Eric Kireithe has also condemned the violence, stating that stern action will be taken against any leader who incites the public, even as the 2017 general elections draws near.
We also take this opportunity to send a loud and clear message to politicians using violence as a political tool that this cannot and shall not be tolerated.
Despite the violence that was witnessed at Muliro Gardens in Kakamega County, Moses Masika Wetangula now argues that that will not dampen his spirit, that of seeking to occupy State House come 2017, and that will continue campaigning for his presidential bid. Chris Dairo, KTN News in Busia County.
Part of ODM legislators who were kicked out of Parliament during the State of the Nation address say they have no regrets over their action. They say they will seek proper interpretation of Standing Order 111 that was applied by the Speaker on Ugunja Member of Parliament Opiyo Wandayi that meant he will be out of Parliament for the remainder of the session. They also say they decided to use the whistle to disrupt the presidential speech as a way of expressing their dissatisfaction in the manner in which Jubilee government is running the affairs of the country.
When I blow the whistle, it's not that I'm a fool. I'm an intelligent, frustrated person who is joining other Kenyans who are frustrated to express our frustration. And Muturi must know that he cannot remove Wanga. You know, I wonder the kind of speaker we have.
We will demand from the speaker to give us a proper interpretation of Standing Order 111, number 111, ili alitumia kufukuza hiyo. Kwa sababu that standing order contravenes many sections of the Constitution. People of Ugunja cannot stay without representation for a whole year.
If Muturi decides to relieve me of my duties in the National Assembly, I hold no grudge. I hold no ill feeling. I go out with a clear conscience, because then it gives me now the opportunity to do what my role is, which is to blow the whistle on corruption and endemic failures of this government.
All right, let's now focus on a story that will be the big one of this week. The International Criminal Court that will on Tuesday deliver a verdict on whether Deputy President William Ruto and radio journalist Joshua Arap Sang have a case to answer on the crimes against humanity charges that they're facing before the court. The verdict, to be delivered in writing at 6 p.m. Kenyan time on Tuesday, may see the prosecution hit a dead end in the Ruto Sang case before the ICC. KTN's Murimi Mwangi explains what is at stake as the court prepares to issue this ruling this week.
For close to 5 years now, the International Criminal Court premises at The Hague have been quite a familiar sight for Deputy President William Ruto and radio journalist Joshua Arap Sang.
International Criminal Court is now in session,
where the two are facing crimes against humanity charges of murder, forceful deportation of population and persecution in relation to the 2007-2008 post-poll chaos.
The International Criminal Court is now in session.
But Ruto and Sang are now an extremely anxious lot, probably more than ever before, as a three-judge bench in Trial Chamber 5A of the ICC delivers a verdict which may effectively terminate their cases at 6 p.m. Kenyan time on Tuesday. This in relation to two motions filed separately by the Ruto and Sang defense teams. On one hand, Sang wants the judges to make a determination that he has no case to answer, while Ruto is requesting for a judgment of acquittal. Both motions are founded on the defense team's assertion that the prosecution's case has flopped and that prosecutor Fatou Bensouda has not adduced sufficient evidence linking Ruto and Sang to the 2007-2008 bloodshed.
No case to answer just means, in other words, that you are asking the judgment to be on your favor, that you are innocent. But you know that the burden of proof lies always with the prosecution when it comes to the criminal procedures. And in this case, the prosecutor must prove beyond reasonable doubt, I repeat, that the accused or the perpetrator in this case is, in material case, is guilty. And is guilty because of ABCD.
They could also be asked to go on their defense. From where I'm sitting, I suspect they'll be asked to go on their defense and to produce their witnesses. That's the minimum you do to a prosecution side in order for you to ensure justice. You also need to listen to the other side, to the defense side.
The Tuesday ruling comes barely a month after a 5-judge bench sitting at the ICC appeals chamber blocked the prosecution from using the evidence of 5 witnesses who had recanted their testimonies.
There is what we call a slice of evidence when it comes to the prosecution evidence. But we need again to know the quantum of the evidence, which of course the court is not going to consider how much or how many pieces of evidence the prosecution will adduce, but we look at the entirety of the evidence.
A statement from the Public Affairs Unit of the ICC indicates that the verdict will be delivered in writing and made public on the ICC website and later dispatched to media houses through a press release. The judges have excused Ruto and Sang from being physically present in court. Now, the Tuesday verdict presents an opportunity for the Deputy President and radio journalist Joshua Arap Sang to finally be free from the shackles of the ICC. But should the judges fully or partly reject either of the 2 motions, then Ruto and Sang still have to make some more trips to The Hague to clear their names of the crimes against humanity. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News in Nairobi.
Staying with that story, leader of majority in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, has once again hit out at the International Criminal Court of giving a predetermination of the kind of judgment to expect. The court will issue its judgment on Tuesday, as we have told you, on whether or not the 2 have a case to answer. Duale was speaking in Garissa this afternoon, and he questioned how some journalists are able to get certain information on the Ruto Sang case that is not accessible to the public. Duale said Kenyans expect, quote, nothing short of a no case to answer against Ruto and Sang.
All indications are that they're trying to prepare, or they're trying to tell the country of the judgment that we should expect, that the case will go to full trial, that a full trial is what the judges are going to give out. I want to say it very categorically here, that unless ICC is a political court with a political determination in the case against the Deputy President William Ruto and Joshua Arap Sang, unless the ICC is a kangaroo court, then we expect nothing short of a no case to answer, based on the evidence and the argument provided by the defense counsel and based on the argument provided by the prosecution.
For residents who witnessed one of Kenya's worst mass murders on the tragic night of June the 15th, 2014. Over 60 people were murdered in cold blood by terror group Al-Shabaab. And although some are slowly mastering courage to move on, peace and stability remain ductile. KTN's Francis Ontomwa has just returned from Peetoni.
The piercing morning rays give way to another day for the small but active town of Peetoni. This is the town that grabbed global attention, witnessing one of Kenya's worst terror attacks ever, an occurrence that shook the foundations of the township as mothers, sisters, wives watched as their kin were slaughtered.
Kile niliona tu ni carnage. Ile watu kuuawa bila huruma, hakuna maana. Damu ni kama ilikuwa haijakauka. Unakuta hii ni damu ya fulani, ni watu tuliwajua. Alafu tulipoenda mochare ni watu, hata ile dignity, human dignity, unakuta watu wamewekwa huko hawana nguo, wako kwa tent, kuna joto kama hili, kuna uvundo. Ilikuwa ni kitu ambacho wakili ilileta trauma kwa watu wengi.
The worst killings along Gamba to Hindi stretch was in Peetoni, where more men were executed during the deadly dawn attack. Disfigured structures, burnt walls and abandoned vehicles playing permanent reminder of what became the murder. And no one seems to have been extremely tasted as Mama Mary Waithera. We arrive at her homestead just about when she is setting out to tend to her garden. The 56-year-old mother of 8 has had to put shoulders to the wheel and carry the cross of losing her son, James Macharia, the chilling murder still recorded in her memory.
Nikakutana na watoto wangu nao wanatembea wakiniambia, mama, Jimmy wetu pengine hajakufa. Sikuwaongelesha. Ndio nikaambiwa amekufia pale kwenye lori ile ilikuwa ya maembe wakiwa watu 5. Nikaenda hapo. Saa hiyo ni kama saa 12. Basi nikamkuta hapo amelala. Amekufa.
The late James Kenothia Macharia, 30 years old and a father of 3, was ambushed by attackers as he was on an errand with a close friend.
Alikuwa ni kijana wangu, nimpenda, anaye alinipenda. Ananifanyia kazi ya shamba ile ambayo anaona nimeshindwa na kufanya. Kama ni kuchimba mashimo ya kupanda mandizi, wakati wa kupanda nakatia mashimo napanda kile napanda. Ndio ikianguka kwa kisima huwa ananitolea.
Although time may have offered some solace of healing, every time she visits the graveyard of his son, emotions are once again triggered, and even now she still feels unsafe.
Usiku kisikia tu kitu kinatingiza mabati, unaanza kufikiria tumekutwa.
The traumatic experience continues to haunt mothers and widows who often meet to encourage one another, the quest for state compensation appearing to be a pipe dream. This, a silken monument, was erected to mark the first anniversary of the deadly massacre. The names of the fallen youths are embedded here, families often passing by to meditate and remember the loved ones. Peetoni Market is deemed the green basket of the county, and here enthusiastic traders offer what is perhaps the only true evidence that better days are still ahead.
Kwa usalama hatuna shida, manake tunaona serikali imetulida kisawa, manake hatujasikia furugu, isipokuwa ni huku kado tunasikia fununu kuwa ameonekana, sijui askari wanajenga, yani askari tuseme kwa jumla ulinzi tunao. Tunashukuru
mpaka hivi tunaongea hivi ya kwamba hata hapa mahali ambapo ulikuwa huwezi kuona watu usiku, sasa hata biashara zingine zinaendelea mpaka saa 3 ya usiku.
A few days ago, top suspect in the mass murder Mahadi Swale Mahadi alias Jesus and Suleiman Ahmed Diana and 2 others said to have orchestrated the attack were released on grounds that the prosecution had failed to present a tight case in court. Tribal conflicts at times based on religious intolerance was partly blamed for the ignition of the massacre. Peetoni has deeply ingrained land conflicts that have not been resolved to date. The gains of a fast-growing town yet again remaining on focus. Even so, Peetoni looks like it's ready to rebuild once again. It has been 2 years since Peetoni went up into flames, and although peace and tranquility is slowly creeping into the town, indeed it remains a huge bother for many to balance between a painful past and an uncertain future. Francis Ontomwa, KTN News, Peetoni, Lamu County.
To defend the current system, saying that the success stories from it are a clear indication of the success and the negative opinions about it are exaggerated.
I'd like to assure you that we're going to support you. Your parents will support you.
The 844 system of education is one of the many success stories coming from Kenya and has had an impact in the rest of the world. Any negative comments about the 844 system are exaggerations from individuals who do not give themselves time to look at the bigger picture. The proposed review of our education system should aim to start from where 844 has reached. It should not try to reverse the clock and try to reconstruct history.
En masse, because, okay, fine, people may come from this same place, it is an operation and find that the offense is the same, but once it is read, everybody pleads different. One can plead guilty, another will plead not guilty.